enjoy and everything else they have to offer.
Pretty much the same. I was criminalistic. Yeah, I've done like beanies, grand thefts, alcohol back then. Yeah, I'm stuck on drugs now. People stealing your stuff all the time. They say either buy it or I'll take your money. You know, what the hell is that? If I don't want it, I don't want it. You know, they say you're your friend, and then they turn their backs. You know, loyalty, no loyalty down here.
Welcome to U.S. Homeless Stories.
Worst thing that's actually happened is got my stuff stolen.
Welcome to U.S. Homeless Stories. Across Clark County, more than 6,500 people are experiencing homelessness. Many live outdoors, in places hidden behind walls, fences, and construction zones. Areas that exist just outside the frame of what the city wants to show. Sidewalks turn into resting places. Dry riverbeds and drainage channels become shelter. People learn where they are least likely to be seen.
I've been attacked multiple times on the street. Like, I was not doing anything good there, and I've had the cops take all my stuff repeatedly. My vehicles, every time I get my stuff together, the cops come.
The contrast is quiet. While comfort is carefully preserved in some spaces, survival happens in others. Days are spent managing heat, fatigue, and the risk of being moved along. Nights bring uncertainty, interrupted sleep, and the need to protect what little remains. Las Vegas works hard to present beauty, but the cost of that image is often carried by those pushed to the edges. Why does a city built to showcase perfection allow so much suffering to exist just out of sight? One, the reality of Las Vegas beyond the neon lights. Behind the glittering lights of Las Vegas's iconic strip, where millions chase dreams under neon skies, a quieter reality unfolds for thousands living with instability and the longing for a place to belong. The 2024 point-in-time count from the Southern Nevada Homelessness Continuum of Care reports 7,906 people experiencing homelessness, a 20% increase from the previous year and one of the fastest growth rates in the nation. Each year, hundreds more are pulled into this uncertainty, carrying the quiet exhaustion of surviving in a city designed for visitors rather than lasting roots. Shelter shortages deepen the crisis. More than 53% of those counted, over 4,000 people, remain unsheltered, as available beds fall short by thousands, according to HUD's 2025 reports. Homelessness spreads across the city, from the historic West Side to downtown near Fremont Street, and into the vast underground tunnel system stretching over 200 miles. Within these stormwater tunnels, an estimated 1,200 individuals seek refuge in dark, echoing spaces never meant for human shelter, and while surface encampments sit just beyond the edges of tourist zones. Living conditions in these places are marked by hardship. Tent camps scattered across public lands often rely on only a few public fountains for clean water, with limited sanitation adding to daily discomfort. Community pantries distribute more than 1.5 million meals each year, yet resources remain stretched. Days are shaped by small acts of endurance, securing a thin tarp against desert winds, sharing sparse meals, and coping with the absence of privacy in a city that never pauses. These realities, shared through U.S. Homeless Stories, but remind us that homelessness is not an abstract issue, but a deeply human experience shaped by unforeseen turns. What does it mean to call a tent home in a city of luxury? As we look closer, the resilience beneath the neon glow comes into focus. If these unseen lives move you, a like helps amplify their voices, and subscribing to U.S. Homeless Stories connects you to more stories of quiet strength and human connection. Two, hygiene, odors, and the sting of shame. In the unforgiving dryness of Las Vegas, where annual rainfall barely reaches 4 inches, and summer temperatures often climb beyond 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The simple act of staying clean becomes a daily ordeal for people without shelter, quietly intensifying feelings of isolation and despair. Access to water, one of life's most basic needs, turns into a constant search. Many rely on scattered public fountains or limited charity distributions, yet with 7,906 people experiencing homelessness in southern Nevada, as reported in the 2024 point-in-time count by the Southern Nevada Homelessness Continuum of Care, demand overwhelms supply, and leaving many to endure the relentless heat while dehydrated. This shortage reaches beyond drinking water to the absence of reliable bathing facilities. Without access to showers, days can stretch into weeks without relief from the dirt and sweat of life outdoors, creating deep physical fatigue and emotional exhaustion. Basic hygiene items such as soap, toothbrushes, and sanitary products remain out of reach for most. Drop-in centers, including those supported by organizations like the Salvation Army, distribute supplies to around 500 individuals each week. Yet in a city of more than 650,000 residents with only about 50 public restrooms, the gap is impossible to ignore. In busy corridors like Paradise Road, the lingering odor of unmanaged waste becomes more than a physical presence. It silently marks struggle. It invites stares and judgment that slowly erode self-worth, making even the act of asking for help feel overwhelming. Avoiding eye contact in crowds, living without privacy, and knowing that dignity often begins with basic cleanliness, all take a quiet emotional toll. These realities, shared through U.S. homeless stories, show how the lack of sanitation deepens vulnerability and turns personal care into a daily reminder of life on the margins in a city built for spectacle. They remind us that such hardship is not distant or abstract, but a human experience shaped by life's unexpected turns. How might access to hygiene restore dignity and hope? If these reflections resonate, a like helps amplify these voices, and subscribing to U.S. Homeless Stories keeps you connected to more stories of quiet resilience and compassion. Three, surviving outdoors in extreme weather conditions. Under the unforgiving desert sun of Las Vegas, where heat rules the skyline and temperatures rise without mercy, life without shelter becomes a daily trial of quiet resilience and inner strength. With more than 100 days each year climbing beyond 100 degrees Fahrenheit, the air itself feels heavy, draining energy and turning even the simplest movements into exhausting efforts that settle deep into the body. In places like North Las Vegas, where open land dominates and greenery covers only about 8% of the area, far below the national average of 15%. Finding shade often means retreating beneath overpasses along major corridors such as Interstate 15, where 300,000 vehicles pass each day, while filling the air with dust and constant noise that compound the oppressive heat. During long stretches of extreme temperatures, the lack of a cool refuge intensifies the struggle. Skin burns under relentless exposure. Hydration becomes a constant pursuit from scarce sources, and the body carries a dull, persistent ache, craving relief that never quite arrives. People do what they can to adapt, sharing water from communal points, draping cloth for makeshift shade, or shifting positions to escape the harsh glare. But beneath these efforts lies a deeper emotional weight. There is the quiet yearning for a moment of cool stillness, the sorrow of living exposed in a world that never pauses, and the profound vulnerability of existing at the mercy of nature with no door to close at day's end. These challenges extend beyond physical strain, reaching into the spirit and stirring empathy for the strength required to face each sunrise under such conditions. They remind us gently that life's unpredictable turns can place anyone in similar exposure, inviting gratitude for the comforts we often overlook and compassion for those who endure without them. Through U.S. homeless stories, these moments reveal the depth of human endurance in extreme environments, drawing us closer to the shared core of resilience that connects us all. How does the heat, or the climate around you shape your own sense of safety and comfort. As we continue exploring these lived realities, it's the presence of human connection amid hardship that keeps us engaged, urging us to meet these stories with open hearts. If these reflections on quiet perseverance resonate with you, a like helps carry these voices forward. And subscribing to U.S. Homeless Stories invites you to keep walking with us through more layers of empathy, strength, and humanity. Four, structural causes leading to homelessness in Las Vegas. In Las Vegas's tourism-driven economy, stability is often thinner than it appears. The city supports over 250,000 hospitality jobs, yet many entry-level positions pay just $12 an hour, creating a fragile foundation where everyday setbacks can quickly unravel a household. Job loss is a critical trigger. The 2024 point-in-time count from the Southern Nevada Homelessness Continuum of Care shows that 56.2% of people experiencing homelessness pointed to unemployment as the moment their lives began to fall apart. In a city dominated by casinos and hotels, where work is often seasonal, the countless families live only one missed paycheck away from eviction. This vulnerability extends beyond the Strip into surrounding areas like Henderson, where evictions increased by 22% in 2025. With average one-bedroom rents reaching $1,800 a month and the cost of living running about 5% above the national average, housing becomes an almost invisible barrier. According to the 2025 HUD Consolidated Plan, 26% of renters in Clark County spend at least half of their income on housing, slowly transforming stable homes into unattainable luxuries and pushing more people toward the streets. Mental health challenges further deepen this instability. Public clinics in Clark County handle more than 15,000 visits each year. Yet long wait lists, often stretching up to 3 months, leave many conditions untreated until work, relationships, and housing can no longer be sustained. At the same time, the shortage of affordable housing continues to tighten the cycle. Over the past 5 years, only 25,000 housing units were built, far short of the estimated need for 40,000, as highlighted by the Ginn Center for Policy Priorities. Family disruption adds another layer of strain, particularly for veterans, who make up 18% of Nevada's homeless population in a state with 11 military installations. Financial pressures also extend beyond rent. While Nevada's effective property tax rate sits at 0.59%, rising property assessments in fast-growing neighborhoods like Summerlin, where median home values reached $550,000 in 2026, further squeeze lower-income residents already living on the edge. Together, these intertwined pressures reveal how minor disruptions can escalate into life-altering crises when safety nets are thin. Homelessness in Las Vegas is rarely the result of a single failure, but of economic systems that magnify everyday struggles into profound hardship. As U.S. Homeless Stories continues to uncover these realities, we're invited to reflect on how rising costs shape life at the margins in our own cities. If these stories resonate, a like helps amplify unheard voices, and subscribing keeps you connected to more stories of quiet resilience. Five, voices from those living on the streets. In the quieter margins of Las Vegas, far from the neon glow, the lived experiences of people without stable housing reveal a deeply human story of endurance. Without a safe place to rest, every emotion is heightened, every challenge. In a city that moves fast and celebrates visibility, many feel painfully invisible. Reports from the Southern Nevada Homelessness Continuum of Care in 2025 reflect this reality. Yet with more than 40% of surveyed individuals describing the emotional exhaustion that comes from feeling ignored and unseen in a metropolis built on constant interaction. This sense of invisibility slowly wears people down. Everyday tasks, finding a place to sleep without being disturbed, securing food or basic hygiene, become draining routines that chip away at dignity and self-worth. In East Las Vegas, where limited community resources must serve a population exceeding 200,000, the absence of stable shelter creates a constant state of alert. Outreach data shows that 35% of unhoused individuals report increased anxiety. This is shaped by unpredictable encounters and the relentless pressure of surviving without walls for protection. Moments of relief are rare but meaningful. For some, the warmth of human connection appears briefly in drop-in centers that serve around 1,200 people each month, where informal conversations and small support circles offer fleeting reminders of belonging. These spaces become pockets of comfort in an otherwise isolating landscape, where shared stories soften the edges of loneliness, even if only for a moment. The impact of homelessness often shows itself quietly: the exhaustion from walking for hours to stay safe, the ache for privacy in spaces where nothing is truly personal, or the silent grief of watching families pass by with the stability that once felt familiar. Across the city, these experiences surface again and again, reflecting universal human needs: the desire for rest, safety, and connection. Beneath the statistics are people navigating loss and hope at the same time, reminding us that these paths are not so distant from our own lives as we might assume. Life's uncertainties can redirect anyone, inviting reflection on our shared vulnerabilities and the importance of empathy. Through U.S. homeless stories, then these voices come together to highlight our common humanity and encourage a deeper sense of collective care. How might simply acknowledging these emotions change the way we see one another? As the journey continues, these lived experiences draw us closer to understanding the realities shaping our communities. If these reflections on quiet resilience resonate, A-Like helps support these stories, and subscribing to U.S. Homeless Stories keeps you connected to lives too often left unheard. Six, how Las Vegas is responding to the homelessness crisis. Within the pulse of Las Vegas's vibrant energy, the city's response to homelessness unfolds as a quiet tapestry of compassion, shaped by people committed to reaching those who feel left behind. Across the streets, outreach workers from the Clark County Social Service Department move with steady resolve. In 2025, their mobile units expanded to cover 200 routes each month, connecting with more than 500 individuals per round, offering food, conversation, and guidance towards shelter. These simple gestures carry deep meaning, that restoring a sense of visibility and worth in moments where life can feel overwhelmingly indifferent. This care is reinforced through broader structural efforts. Under the HUD 2025 to 2029 Consolidated Plan, $60 million has been directed into community-based programs, fueling rapid rehousing initiatives that have already supported 2,000 families. Beyond providing housing, then these programs offer something just as vital: the emotional grounding that comes from knowing tomorrow holds possibility instead of uncertainty. In areas like the Arts District, where more than 30 creative spaces attract constant crowds while quieter struggles linger nearby, local nonprofits operate pop-up health stations that serve around 800 people each week. These stations tend to bodies and minds worn down by prolonged exposure, offering brief but powerful moments of relief that speak to the universal need for healing and human connection. Collaborations with organizations such as Help Hope Home further demonstrate the impact of focused support. In 2026 alone, the group assisted 1,500 youth through mentorship circles, transforming isolation into shared paths toward recovery across a city that spans 135 square miles of diverse and complex needs. These efforts show how tailored care can reignite hope, even in lives shaped by instability. Together, these initiatives reflect a broader social empathy, where volunteers and professionals alike invest their energy in repairing what has fractured. They remind us that instability is not an isolated burden, but one that touches the collective spirit, and that offering support is less about charity than about recognizing our shared humanity. It's a quiet reminder that life's balance can shift for anyone, urging us to strengthen the systems that keep us all grounded. As U.S. Homeless Stories continues to share these evolving efforts, they invite reflection on how small acts of outreach can ripple outward into meaningful change. How might these examples inspire greater warmth within our own communities? This ongoing story of collective care draws us deeper, revealing the powerful ways people come together in the face of hardship. If these moments of resilience resonate with you, a like helps carry these stories forward, and subscribing to U.S. Homeless Stories keeps you connected to narratives that honor the human spirit at their core. Seven, solutions being implemented in Las Vegas. In Las Vegas, the solutions emerging go beyond policy or programs. They function as lifelines embedded in the everyday reality of people who have carried uncertainty for far too long. At the center of these efforts is the Pathways to Home initiative, operating across 15 facilities citywide and able to serve up to 800 individuals at any given time. According to 2025 data from Help Hope Home, 65% of participants transition into long-term housing, turning unstable, temporary living situations into spaces where people can finally pause, breathe, and begin rebuilding their lives. By easing the exhaustion that comes from not knowing where rest will come next, these environments allow healing to replace constant survival. Economic stability is addressed through vocational training hubs in areas like Summerlin, a community of more than 100,000 residents. Each quarter, workshops reach roughly 500 participants, focusing on expanding industries such as construction, fields projected by Nevada's Department of Employment to generate 10,000 new jobs by 2027. Within these spaces, people reconnect with their abilities. Rediscovering purpose after hardship has dulled confidence and direction. Mental health care forms another critical layer of support. Mobile teams travel through 30 neighborhoods every week, in providing compassionate services to nearly 700 individuals. Their work acknowledges the emotional toll of living without stability, offering care that helps mend the unseen wounds left by prolonged uncertainty and disconnection. Creative approaches also play a role in restoring dignity and belonging. Small-scale tiny home communities, built on 5-acre plots, now house 200 residents. Clark County's 2026 sustainability reports note that shared gardens within these communities produce around 1,000 pounds of fresh food each year, fostering not only physical nourishment but also connection, where shared meals, daily routines, and collective growth replace isolation with community. Together, these initiatives reflect a simple yet powerful truth. Recovery flourishes when empathy leads the way. By prioritizing human needs, they transform the quiet despair of displacement into steady steps toward renewed dignity. They also serve as a gentle reminder that life's unexpected downturns can touch anyone, inviting us to value our own stability while supporting those finding their way back. Within U.S. Homeless Stories, these approaches highlight how thoughtful, human-centered actions can ripple outward into broader hope. How might communities everywhere change if such solutions were embraced more fully? As these stories unfold, a sense of possibility draws us closer, encouraging deeper connection with the lives around us. If these moments of renewal spark optimism in you, A-Like helps carry these stories forward. And subscribing to U.S. Homeless Stories keeps you connected to more narratives of perseverance and meaningful change. Eight. Conclusion. The future of Las Vegas. Looking ahead to the horizon of Las Vegas, a city defined by constant motion, reinvention, and dreams, the road forward carries a quiet promise of compassion woven more deeply into its foundation. Within this vision lies the possibility of a gentler landscape for those who have known the hardship of empty streets and nights filled with uncertainty. It points toward communities shaped by understanding and shared strength, reminding every resident that a home is more than shelter. It is dignity, safety, and belonging. For people experiencing homelessness, this future suggests renewed possibility. Places where rest no longer comes with fear, where voices once overlooked are finally heard, and where isolation softens through genuine human connection. Each step forward, however small, honors the resilience they have carried beneath the city's relentless glow, acknowledging the humanity that has endured even in the harshest moments. For the rest of us, these stories quietly reflect our own fragility, inviting empathy into our daily lives and reminding us how easily life's balance can shift. They encourage a world where support replaces indifference, and where no one is left to face uncertainty alone. This shared journey reveals a simple truth: that instability can touch any life without warning, calling us to build bridges of kindness while appreciating the stability we hold. In the spirit of U.S. Homeless Stories, imagining this evolution inspires collective hope. A Las Vegas transformed not only in skyline, but in soul, embracing every story with openness and care. How might each of us contribute to a future where compassion guides the way forward? As this chapter comes to a close, the warmth of these reflections lingers, urging us to carry forward the lessons of quiet perseverance and human connection. To everyone who has stayed with us through this journey, thank you sincerely. Your time and presence help give strength to voices that deserve to be heard. If this vision of possibility resonates with your sense of humanity, A-Like helps amplify these stories. And subscribing to U.S. Homeless Stories invites you to continue exploring the threads of hope and renewal that bind us all together.